Okay, we got a new President Washington here. This one's going to Oregon. Got a Digimic too, so I'll be sending that one in a different box from Oregon, I think. It'll come directly to you from there, so you'll get that first. That's the serial number of the Washington. I got the fans put on for you. There's the little cases for the fans. There's the fans on there for you. FM modulation's already been adjusted, so we'll just show that really quick. So 4.1 kilohertz, and FM power is about 50 all the way up, about 1 all the way down. On AM, we're going to set this from 20 to 16 all the way up. So I think 20 is too much. So we'll just kind of see what the modulation does here first. I want to make sure that when I set it that I'm getting the best level of modulation out of the radio. So let's see right now. Yeah, it looks pretty good there. That's usually why I set it there. So on these radios, it's coming out like at 96%. It says RMS, so we started at 16, so we're a little under double. So if we can't increase it a little bit. There's about our double mark on these radios, but I think it might be too much, but there's 99%. So let's see. Yeah, it looks okay, so yep, looks good. Alright, so that worked out well. I'm not going to show the other part, I'm just adjusting a couple other settings in AM modulation. I'll make this kind of a shorter video. There's no charge for the video, so you know, it's kind of up to the time frame that I have, which right now I don't have a lot of time, so obviously the radio is going to get set up the right way, but you know, some videos when I have more time I'll do more things. Okay, so looking at sideband on these, they're not as bad as some, but that's still too much RMS. So what we want to do is let me actually switch to my two-tone here. President does a weird thing with their service. They have like a self-generated tone. I don't really like how they do it, but we can work with it anyway. So we want to kind of lower that down to about half, and then that looks much better. So again, I don't know why they have to be different in that regard, but they always do. It's just the way it is, I guess. So we'll put the radio in sideband. You can hear the fans are kicking in because I got the thermostat control off, so it's just going to run. The fans will run. I'll switch that back on when I'm done, but so we're going to test the sideband and see how I did. I think I did well, so based on what I'm seeing already. Alright. Another thing I don't understand why they didn't add is the ability to just adjust the tolerance of the frequency just a little bit. There's no adjustment on these, which is something that should have been added, I think. It's not that these are bad or anything, but you would just like to see that. It's really good. 23. It's really, really good. So RMS is about 20 to 30, and then the PP with the two-tone is almost 40, so that's fine. Okay, we're going to put the President mic on here. This is just the standard condenser they come with. I don't stock the Digimic. I drop ship those, so I'm not a big fan of it personally, but I know a lot of people like it. It's basically just a noise canceling mic with up and down, so I prefer the P6 NM532 for better sound quality and more punchy modulation. But anyways, here's the power on sideband out of the radio, so we're still seeing close to the full of what this radio should do. But the benefit here is it's going to be a much cleaner signal. And again, like any quality HF radio, you probably aren't going to see the biggest, you know, if the radio is supposed to do 100 watts, you're going to see anywhere from 80 to 90 something. So, you know, this is normal when you got a functioning ALC. It's going to level out the modulation and keep the power at a clean level. So you're not always going to be peaking and screaming and yelling. So, you know, if you can make it on 40 and 50, you're going to make it, you know, or I'm sorry, if you can make it on 80, you're going to make it on 40 and 50 for the most part. I mean, if the signals are going to travel, they're going to travel. So that's the thing we got to remember about radio, is it's not always about power. It's about conditions, and if you got conditions, you're usually going to make it with whatever you put out there on a clear frequency. That's the key word, clear frequency. If you're trying to bust through on the most popular frequencies, then yeah, you're going to have a hard time. So when there's 100 other people talking at the same time, it's very difficult. If you go to a clear frequency, it's going to be very easy. So what I'm going to do here is switch the setting on the display, I think, to standing wave, because I haven't done that yet. But there's how it looks there. It looks really good. These are really good sideband radios. Whoops. I think I entered the PA mode by mistake. Here we go, get out of that. So we're going to go back to this. I'm just going to leave that on for the time being. I know you can't really see the display, but I don't like to take that protective film off. I'll let the customer do that. We're going to make this say SR. You can see it's FR and then SR. Okay. That's what I wanted to show there. So you can see I have 14 volts off my S-Tron power supply, and then when I modulate it goes down to about 13 something. That's normal. Obviously we're drawing current, so we're producing power from the radio. I would never worry about trying to run a thicker power cord or anything. You're not going to notice any difference if you do that. This is AM, by the way. So again, on these, when the radios heat up, the carrier kind of increases. So it's just what they are with these MOSFETs. I don't know why that is, but and I think actually the mic is picking up the fan noise too. So, you know, these are kind of hot mics. That's why I like that NM532, because you got the slider on the front. You can adjust your overall gain. I don't like adjusting mic gain on radios. I like to leave that all the way up. That's how I set these radios up to be ran. But to each his own on what they want to do with the radio. So if you look at the spectrum analyzer, you can see that fan noise, and if I put the mic closer, obviously. But that's what that stuff is here and here. If the fans were to go out, that would go away. But you can see on these radios, the modulation isn't as aggressive on AM. If you were to look at like this, and then look at the 955 plus video, you would see a difference here of the more aggressive modulation is on the striker as it carries through. These, it's more of a narrow band modulation, so obviously it's more for the guys that want the best fundamental power transfer. This is the better way, but you know, some guys don't care about that. They just want a radio that's more spicy on audio, and this one's not going to give you that. So, you know, it's more or less what you want out of your radio. And then on sideband, these do outstanding, so there's no problems there at all. So that's pretty much it. We're gonna put the fan option back to thermostat. So I think they kick on at around 20 something C. Let's see where it switches off. Actually, the radio is quite warm right now, so I think the default is here. Yeah, there's the default. So if it gets over this temperature, it'll come on. Hello, hello, radio. I thought there was a way to show temperature. on the display. Temperature, yeah, I don't care about voltage. There's 102 Fahrenheit. Hello radio, 123, 123. So I'm assuming when it gets up there a little more, 110, somewhere in there, the fans will self-regulate and the radio will tell them we need to turn fans on, we need some cooling. So if I just sit here and got long-winded and just kept talking, I'm assuming that eventually the temperature, the thermostat will kick in and we'll start to warm the radio up enough to where, I don't know what 50C is because I'm recording a video. I could easily look on the computer or whatever, but the guys that are more familiar with that throughout the world would already know. But just trying to figure out like what is the breaking point here where the fans are just going to kick on. So as you can see, the radio's heating up quite nicely, and we'll just kind of keep talking here a little bit and see what happens. Maybe 120 is our mark. I'm not really sure where they're going to actually kick on, but you know, they will come on, but you can find a happy medium some point to where, there they go, 122 degrees. So maybe it was somewhere around 120, 122. Now they're on and they're going to cool the radio off, and they'll kick off when they need to. So you really don't have to do anything if you don't want to, but that's up to you. If you want to let them run more often, you can just lower that threshold. So let's just quickly check the receiver on this, and then we'll call this one a good one and get it heading your way. Okay, just for information here, I've never seen a radio, any of the radios that I sell, that have ever had a bad receiver when it comes to like overall sensitivity. So, you know, some guys might complain about selectivity, but that's not something that you can really address in these. You have to rely on the manufacturer to maybe remedy things like that. And I'm hoping at some point they will come out with some better technology that allows us to get less noise, especially in mobile scenarios, more similar to our older radios of past days. So anyways, this is minus 130 dBm, so we're hearing a nice signal. It's actually still registering on the meter, so I'll go to AM, check that really quick. I'll have to lower that down some, but okay, there's your S9 right there. That's good. So we'll start lowering that signal down. That's minus 120. Minus 128. There's minus 130. Is this 100% modulation? I think it is. Yeah, this is 100% modulation. So here's a tad bit less. Obviously, we know that going from AM to sideband, you're going to have a degrade because you have a carrier absorbing half the power. So sideband is going to be a more useful mode for longer distance. FM is going to be better than AM also. So there you have it. Haven't done one of these in a while. Still got a few of them here. They were really popular back when President was giving away the free DigiMic option with them. Nobody really wanted the Bluetooth mic. Everybody seemed to want the DigiMic, but they're not offering that right now, so maybe that's why it slowed down. I don't know. Things change in the hobby, and maybe guys got what they wanted, and a lot of guys are waiting for something new. So don't know about anything new right now, but we'll see what the future holds. 73.